Hello, Viking fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Viking Talk with Josh Morgan. I'm Brandon Davis. Always glad to have with me Warren Central head football coach Josh Morgan. Coach, great to see you this week.
You too, Brandon.
Well, order restored last week. We get a 21-0 win over Pearl. I know you had to be happy getting back on the winning side of things.
Very happy. We are very anxious and ready and ready to play and really proud of how our guys responded. We've had to chew on that for a while, and we're ready to play again and get another opportunity, and very pleased with how we played and executed and the intensity that we had, and made some big plays. Really got our sideline involved early and our fans, and so it was a really good response by our guys. We've early in the year we've got the taste of losing, and we've got the taste of winning. So we definitely like that taste of winning a whole lot better. So we're very, very proud of our guys.
Well, you had a strong first half, but the scoreboard only showed you with a 7-0 lead.
Yeah.
We left 13 points on the field, 2 missed field goals, which was uncharacteristic, and then a fumble into the end zone as we're going in for a touchdown. What was the message to the team going into half?
Yeah, it's just we, like you mentioned, and it was really important. It's the first thing came out of my mouth on Monday at our team meeting was we won, played good, enough to win, but we left points out really early in the game that really could have led to a dominating performance, and so definitely got to do a better job of seizing those, especially those short fields that we had early. Did miss some field goals, fumble going in the end, which was a really good play by Pearl's guy. Jadarius tried to cover it up and was conscious of where he was, and guy made a good play. But had a chance to really get some separation early. Going in the half was a sense of urgency. We only got 2 quarters left, and we needed to take control of the game, and responded coming out of the second half, Brandon, with a 75-yard opening drive that went down and scored and really snatched the momentum. So very pleased to see that. We started the game well, and we started our half well. And momentum's big. We talked about it last week, and we were able to get it and never let go of it.
Well, response you did. That second half looked like a different team. The offensive line really took over. Finished the game with 255 yards on the ground with a 5-yard per carry average. That's pretty good, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Outstanding night by that offensive line.
Very proud of them, man. We have that's what we want to do. Whether we're able to do it or not, and it depends on our guys. And we play some good people. We all understand that. But when we're running the ball like that, that's the identity that we want to have. I thought our backs ran hard. But I don't know if me and you couldn't run between those holes those guys were making. So I'm very pleased with them. Coach Myers is he really deserves a lot of credit. Spends a lot of time with them. They've taken on their roles and understand how to play with one another and what that looks like. So consistency is what we're going to be after. But it was such a great thing to see when you get 2 backs over 100 yards. That's what our program wants to do. And very pleased to see it.
That second half was probably some of the best football we played as a team in this early season. You and I talked about it in passing after the game. Yeah. That was Warren Central football. That's what we expect to see here.
Yeah, I thought defense played well all night long, and so that was good to see. Very proud of them. It's hard to beat people when you shut out people. It's that's no small feat. So. Thought they did a good job of setting us up in field position. We created, I think, 6 turnovers with the fumbles and interceptions and turnovers on down, blocked a punt. So, when we're able to complement one another in all 3 phases, that's like you said, that's Warren Central football, what we're trying to be. So very, very, very pleased with that.
Had to be pleased with the defense. You talked about that. We did have a block punt. TK Qualls come through the middle as the D tackle blocked the punt. That was huge. But Pearl got the ball, drove down the field. Like they had some momentum going their way. We were able to stop them on downs defensively. They didn't really have any momentum after that point. Yeah. Big stand by the defense.
Big stand. We went up 14-0, and they responded with a good kickoff return, and they got a drive going, and we were able to bow up our necks and trusted our guys to make plays, and Larry Reynolds came off the edge and got a sack fumble, and we were able to recover it, and that's when our sideline erupted, and we knew at that point in time, and that's what we talk about, stirring them red hats up with excitement, and man, it was good to see. And so again, complimentary football. I was proud of our defense for standing tall, because it's a total different ball game if they punch that in. So
that's right.
very, very pleased with them, and that's the type of team that we expect to have, and hopefully we can continue to grow off that.
Well, if there was a negative on the night, we did have some costly penalties that hurt us. We had a touchdown Landon Green had that was called for. They called it a helmet hit. I didn't see it, Coach, but I mean, it is what it is. But the penalties, we've seen that from the first week. It's carried over a little bit to the second week against Pearl. How are you trying to clean that up?
We harp on that all the time, and I thought we did a pretty good job offensively with our penalties there with pre-snap and holding calls, and I thought we were pretty clean on that end. A lot of the stuff is unnecessary, and it's guys trying to do too much, and it's unnecessary blocks. It's too close to being toward the end of the whistle, and that's where we've got to be disciplined, and we talk about it all the time. You can't hurt your football team, and so that's a work in progress. They're being held accountable, and it's not tolerated by any means, and we've got to do a better job with it.
Well, young season, those things are some growing pains, but a great win against a very good Pearl team that had, especially on their defense, they've got 3 or 4 kids that are going to be playing for the next level. So what we were able to do against them was super impressive last Friday night. This is Viking Talk, visiting with Josh Morgan. Coach, we're going to hit the road this week, head over to Gluckstadt to take on the Germantown Mavericks. What can you tell us about this squad?
Germantown is, they've been trending upward, and they made the playoffs last year. Really good football team, and got some big-time weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Very balanced. They can run it and throw it. They got a quarterback that can do both as well. Defensively, they allow the crowd to box and make you make plays. So we're going to have to play at a high level again and execute. We're going to have to outwork them, out physical, and out execute, and we're going to have to beat them. And so it'll be a big test for us. That's exactly the way we're approaching it. Another big ball game against a really quality opponent, and got to be on our A game. And it ought to be a good atmosphere. It ought to be a good challenge, and really anxious to see us compete. And again, we've got things that we want to fix and get better at, continue to grow. So we're anxious to see our guys in that environment.
You talked about the quarterback King White leads this Maverick offense, but really it's the running game where they've been getting a lot of it done, averaging 340 yards a game. Going to be a big challenge for the interior of probably our defensive line and our linebackers this Friday night.
Well, Pearl came out. We were expecting air raid part 2 and 4 and 5 wide, and they came out and put an extra lineman in the game and with some big heavy packages, and that was the game that they wanted to play with us, and we were able to stand up there. Germantown's a lot like that. It's really like preparing for 2 teams. They come in with big personnel and tight end and fullback and big old backs, and then they'll spread you out and go 5 and 4 wide, and so we've got a lot in. We're asking our guys to prepare for a lot. We feel like they're up to the task, but it all starts with the run game, as you mentioned. We've got to make them one-dimensional. We can't let them be balanced and keep us on our heels. So we've got to do a good job stopping the run.
Offensively, they're not throwing it a lot, but when they do, they're pretty effective at it. 2 wide receivers with over 24 yards per catch. Coach Mitchell came from Oak Grove. We understand what that offense is like down there, very dynamic. But those receivers out on the edge, and you talk about when you're trying to focus on the run, you're going to have probably some really good play from your defensive backs and some man coverage.
You're going to have to tackle. You're going to have to tackle well. They do a good job putting you in bad situations, putting their athletes in space. But again, as we mentioned, once they get the run game going, we start creeping up and people start getting their eyes where they shouldn't be. They have the speed to get behind you, and the quarterback has a big arm to get over. So we've got to be patient. We've got to be good tacklers. Thing about it is in the past, they've tried to throw it more than they run it. And then last year they started understanding how they can win, and it's really turned into a run-first offense. And sometimes the running back will take direct snaps and things like that. So, we have to be prepared. I think we are, but we're going to have to make plays, tackle, and everybody has to do their job. Can't try to do somebody else's.
Yeah, White's a very dynamic quarterback. He can run and he can throw it. I know as a defensive coordinator, defensive staff, that has to drive you crazy trying to know what he's going to try to do.
Well, when you're trying to cover 5 receivers and then the quarterback can run and is a danger threat, sometimes they'll do things where they have a pass option, but the quarterback can also run a draw. So they do some things like that to kind of keep you. So we've got to do a good job of not letting him get comfortable, knowing how to bring pressure, but also make sure that everybody's covered up. And so it's a little cat and mouse game there. And we got to do a good job of how we attack, when we attack, and where we're attacking from, and make sure that we're not letting him get comfortable and into a zone.
Well, White's done a very good job so far this season leading this Maverick offense. Talking to Germantown officials, they think that this could be a record-breaking offense for Germantown. They've done a great job. White had a rushing touchdown last week from his quarterback position, so he'll be one that we have to keep our eye on this Friday night. Defensively, coach, they're giving up 13.5 points a game. They beat Northwest Rankin and Canton last week. They're undefeated. They do a good job of moving to the football on a 3-man front, so they've got 4 linebackers moving around. How do you counter that offensively?
Well, it's like you mentioned, it looks a lot like Oak Grove's defense. It's a 5-2 front, really. They're trying to bring 5, really put pressure on you, and they're going to man up on the edges, and that's what they want to do. And so we're going to have to make plays in the passing game. We've got to loosen up. We've got to be able to run it. Even though they're stacking the box, we still have to be able to run the ball, and we have to keep our quarterback clean. So that puts a lot of pressure on you. But there's also plays to be made when people try to do you like that. So we feel like we have a good plan. We're going to still comes to blocking and tackling, and it's hard to block 7 and 8 in the box. But we got to be able to do it, and not going to shy away from who we are and let them run us out of what our identity is. And so it's going to be a challenge, and we're going to have some help on the edges to make some plays.
Yeah, you talk about that. You've got 5 guys, 7 guys down in the box like that, especially on the line. You think you've got to put probably more emphasis on the blocking from your tight end and your H-backs and your receivers out on the edge, making sure they're doing their job.
That's correct. It takes all 10 blocking, because and that's another good thing when you turn on tape from last week, blocking down the field. And of course, Maddox. Everybody knows how good Maddox is in the passing game. He is a phenomenal blocker. He enjoys it, and he's so good at it, and he's a big part of that as well. So we got some things in. We're going to have to out physical, and we're going to have to play for 4 quarters and make sure that we're all hands on deck.
Well, special teams, we always talk about the importance of that. Field goals may be important this week when you're going up against a pretty evenly matched team. John Artman last week, uncharacteristically, he struggled against Pearl. He missed 2 field goals. What does he need to do to be the kicker that we know he's capable of being?
Well, I think the first one he just missed, and the second one was really long, really long. And that just shows you how much confidence that we have in Jonah. I think the second one was maybe a 50-plus yarder.
It was 52, I believe, yeah.
And it didn't hit it well, but we knew that was a chance right there. The first one, that's one that he normally doesn't make, and that's where you got to be mentally tough. As a coach, I know Jonah, and how to talk with him, and I think he missed the first one, and the second one was really long. And but full confidence in him, ready. I know he's ready. Just like we were all anxious after, we got beat to play again. I know he's anxious to ready to get back and get another shot, and he'll get plenty of shots. And we've got full confidence in him.
I'm going to ask you a silly question. I know the answer to it. Kickers, dealing with kickers. Some coaches are scared of their kickers because of how they think and how they act. How do you handle the kicking staff here at Warren Central?
Well, Rob does a really good job, with our kickers. He does a good job with our snappers and holders and kickers. And, Rob was around Coach Sherrill all those years at State, and being, just a sponge, just really absorbed a lot of that information. And so he's really good with them. He's like my kicker whisperer. So he does a good job. And if we need to, we'll call out Big Morgan and let him do what he needs to do. But we've been really blessed with kickers. My goodness, we've had some good kickers over the years. We don't take them for granted, because when you don't have them, you sure do miss them. And we're so fortunate to have Jonah, and he does a really good job for us.
Yeah, a great kid. Like I said, we've always done a great job. If you come in our office here, you see a picture of the Coach Morgan coaching up some kickers. So it's good that we do have those kicker whisperers here at North Central. So, but always a great crowd when we go over to Germantown. Kudos to their fan base. They always do a good job of supporting their kids and their coaching staff. This is going to be a great test as far as how we handle a tough road environment this Friday.
Yeah, when we were making out our non-district schedule, we wanted to put our guys and take our team to the best venues, the best teams, and we wanted to compete and the big stage. And our game is going to be the game of the week on all 3 local channels. That's what you're after. So we get to compete and have the opportunity to play in a big time ball game, and we will, the next couple of weeks after this. And we've got to be mentally tough. We could lose all these games and we could win all of them. It's a tough road. It's a tough challenge, but it makes us better. And preparing for good teams that are well coached and good players, and taking them to nice stadiums, and we want the best of the best because that's how we run our program. And it's an opportunity, and that's how we look at it, and that's how our guys look at it. And like you said, it's a test, and that's exactly what it is. And we like those kind of ball games.
Well, either you read my notes or you and I think alike. So that was kind of a segue into the next question I had here. Shifting gears, talking about the schedule, once again you elected to have an all 7A opponents for non-region games. It's got to benefit the team, but do you worry about it? Like you just talked about it, you have Germantown this week, and then you have 2 powerhouses in Brandon and Madison Central. If you lose those games, you're going in and you're going into a losing record. But if you win them, the sky's the limit. Do you worry about the mental focus of the team when you schedule these type of games?
Sure. Any time that you don't have success, you start worrying about your culture and your mental toughness. Nobody likes to lose. But we talk about it often, and we understand that it's a tough road to hoe. But for us to do what we want to do, and understand and keep the proper perspective, and have your priorities right, we're trying to get better. This is about us. It's about us, and we want to get better, and we want to play, and we want to play at a high level. But around here we're not. We don't back down. We're not scared of anything, and we feel like it makes us better, and let's go compete. And you got to make sure your team's mind is right. And you have to talk about it because it's Brandon, you're exactly right. It could go south just because of morale and all that comes with it. But we were fortunate last year. We come out of it, I think 3-2.
Right.
I don't know what this year we're going to do, and don't know what the cards hold, but. We feel like the pluses are way more than the negatives, and just no fear in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm like you. I like the competition, especially when you're trying. What we want to do here. Let's be straight. We want to win state titles here at Warren Central.
Yeah.
And you got to get to that. But when you play those type of games, that's going to prepare you to help for those playoff road games or those playoff games down the road.
The idea is when it gets to playoff time and it's win or go home, rubber meets the road, those type of situations. That there's not much that our kids haven't seen,
right.
And there's not many better teams than they've seen, and we can revert back to that and understand that this is, and we also are able to fix mistakes that need to be fixed before we get to that point. Yes, that's the goal, and we feel like this is puts our kids in good spots, and it makes us be at our best.
Well, had a difficult week with the weather. Hurricane Francine hitting the south and coming to Mississippi. All best wishes to everyone that's experienced anything with that storm. But how had you and the coaching staff prepared this week, not really knowing if you're going to be in school or not? How have you prepared for that?
Well, it kind of popped up on us. We looked up and we're like, man, this thing's coming our way. And our early forecast had it coming right up the river. And,
right.
So here we go. We go into cram mode. Crash course of Germantown on Mondays and Tuesday as well. Really trying to cram as much as we can. Extra time in the film room, meeting rooms, extra time on the practice field. And then not thinking that we are preparing not to be able to come to school Wednesday or Thursday or have our guys or see them. So we did that, and then we were able to, everything kind of worked out where we were able to go out Wednesday and Thursday. So you know, I feel good about preparation.
Cram sessions like that, it helps to have a senior-laden team, right?
It does. You know, our guys, it does, and it's things that we can kind of revert back to, or situations that been, and when we're putting in a game plan, we're not reinventing the wheel, we're tweaking things, and not, you know, mass overhaul.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're exactly right. That's sure. Our guys are phenomenal. I'm so pleased with our guys. I can't help but think, you know, when talking about that, and old guys and love each other, but you know, coming off and I'm gonna go. We'll talk about this later, but after we got beat in the Red Carpet Bowl, you know, it's Labor Day and Monday, and it's 100% folks. Our players are here, and they're all in, and what a testament that is to our kids and their families and our community, and what they really believe in and what they're willing to do for it. So really enjoying our team.
Well, another big test this Friday night. Coach, what's going to be the keys to beating this Maverick team?
Well, you know, we have to be who we are. All right. So it goes back to they're gonna be all in the box, and we're gonna have to make plays on the edges, but we're gonna have to run the football effectively. My goodness, if we could have that same kind of productivity, you're gonna see a happy coach. I mean, we're hoping that we can, you know, be that productive again. Got to be good on third downs. This offense is going to move the ball, and we understand that. But you got to earn third downs, and when you get to that downs, we've got to be able to get off the field and give our offense the best field position that we can. So again, our concentration is going to be on making sure that we're taking care of the football, and I think, like you mentioned too, special teams are going to be really important, and we're looking forward to see Jonah getting back in the swing of things as on his end. So a lot going on, really big opponent. Can't make it bigger than it is. It comes down to good, you know, really your three stats usually tell you: your penalties, your turnovers, and your rushing yards. And I think everybody is going to be after the same thing. They're going to be trying to run the ball. So are we. So who wins that matchup and who takes care of the ball security is going to be key.
Well, it's going to be a fun one. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to watching it with you. So tomorrow night we will be in Germantown. Come join us. There's not a lot going on in Warren County on Friday night, so travel with us and support this team, support this coaching staff that do so much for these kids. We do appreciate all that you do for us. Thanks for being here last Friday night. The crowd really was a difference against Pearl in some of the third down situations. They had some penalties because of you stepping up and helping us, so we appreciate that.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this week's edition. Next week, we'll talk about this Germantown game and look ahead to the Brandon Bulldogs, powerhouse team. Always enjoy going over there playing those guys. That's going to do it for this week's edition. I'm Brandon Davis. He's Josh Morgan. We'll see you next week. Until then, rise up, Vikings.